What if I told you that some of the most terrifying horror movies are based on true stories? You might think they're just fiction, but the events behind these films are even more disturbing than what made it to the screen. From haunted dolls to real-life nightmares, these are the shocking true stories behind famous horror movies. Case 1. The Exorcist inspired by the real-life exorcism of Roland Doe. In the movie, young girl Regan becomes possessed by a demon, leading to one of the most famous exorcisms ever filmed. Here's the real-life story behind the film. In 1949, a 14-year-old boy named Roland Doe allegedly became possessed after using a Ouija board. His family sought help from Catholic priests who performed multiple exorcisms over weeks. Witnesses reported seeing furniture moving on its own, deep scratches appearing on the boy's body, and his voice changing into something inhuman. The priests confirmed the demonic possession was real. The boy was said to speak in languages he had never learned, and at one point he allegedly levitated above his bed. After weeks of exorcisms, Roland was finally freed from the entity. But to this day, the Catholic Church remains tight-lipped about the details. Case 2. The Conjuring inspired by the Perron family haunting. In the film, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their home. The real-life story behind the movie. In the 1970s, the Perron family moved into a seemingly peaceful Rhode Island farmhouse until strange things started happening. The mother, Carolyn Perron, woke up one night to see a tall, sinister woman in a gray dress whispering, "Get out." The family also experienced foul smells, beds shaking, and objects flying across the room. The Warrens believed the spirit was Bathsheba Sherman, a suspected witch who lived there in the 1800s. The Perrons eventually moved, but claimed the haunting followed them. Case 3. Annabelle, inspired by a real haunted doll. In the movie, possessed doll wreaks havoc on its owners, leading them to the Warrens' occult museum. The real Annabelle doll isn't as terrifying looking as the one in the movie. It's a Raggedy Ann doll. But according to the Warrens, it's just as dangerous. Two roommates in the 1970s claimed the doll would change positions on its own and leave handwritten notes reading, "Help us." A psychic later said the doll was inhabited by a vengeful spirit. The Warrens placed Annabelle in a glass case, warning no one to touch it. A man who mocked the doll died in a motorcycle accident after visiting the museum. Case 4. A Nightmare on Elm Street inspired by the sudden death syndrome cases. In this cult classic film, a group of teenagers is hunted in their dreams by Freddy Krueger. Director Wes Craven was inspired by real reports of men dying in their sleep. In the 1970s, many healthy young men from Southeast Asia died from an unexplained condition, later called sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome. One man told his family he was having terrifying nightmares and refused to sleep. When he finally did, he died in his sleep that night. Authorities couldn't explain it. The deaths continued, with some men being found mid-scream with their eyes wide open. Case 5. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired by serial killer Ed Gein. In the movie, a group of friends encounters a chainsaw-wielding killer named Leatherface. Leatherface was inspired by Ed Gein, a real-life serial killer who did things even more terrifying than the movie. When police searched Gein's house, they found human skin masks, skull bowls, and furniture made from body parts. Gein claimed he wasn't a murderer, he just dug up graves. But he was found guilty of multiple crimes and was the inspiration for multiple horror villains, including Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Some horror movies might seem like fiction, but these real-life cases prove that sometimes reality is even scarier. Which story creeped you out the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you love real-life horror stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to Midnight Mind.